Hello, everyone. I'm Kim, and for my first podcast, I am so excited to introduce to you Chai Cortez. For those of you who don't know her, you need to watch the Oregon Ducks play. She is one of an amazing team, as she continues to tell me over and over again. She caught my eye because she plays the same position that I played when I was in high school and in college. We were both defenders, but her corner kicks are amazing. And that's really what sucked me in. She has been on the All Pac 12-13, Pac 12 Player of the Week just for her senior year. She helped to keep the UCL Bruins scoreless. And it was the first time UCLA had been shut out at home in more than 3 years. And it was the first time that the Oregon Ducks had ever shut out the UCLA Bruins. And she was an integral part of that equation. I am just so excited and so delighted to have her on here. And can't you wait to see what she is going to do in the coming year? I am super excited and I can't wait to see. So, without further ado, here is my interview with Chai Cortez. But first off, what is most important to you as a soccer player as far as like the team goes?
So you're talking about like as a team dynamic or like just what I look for in a team?
Yes.
So like, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but like a lot of my teammates, like they all kind of like have the same like characteristics as me, like outgoing, like competitive, like having all of the same goals as me. Like that's something I really want to be in a team environment. And I just really like the whole thing of like family too, especially because I'm so far away. Like I want to depend on these girls that have my back. So I think like those are the things I really look for in a team, and I think those are the team. I think that team is what we are now. So I think that is a big thing for me, and it's been working. So I mean, these girls are like more my sisters than teammates, if anything. So
Yes, I've noticed that about your team, and it's really been great. I've defended you guys against a couple of people
right, I remember
that
a lot of it.
I'm just like, just go away and sit down. They'll get donuts next year. It's kind of like, well, there doesn't seem to be anyone on your team that isn't talented.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's where like it comes in, like being in that environment like helps me to be the player I would want to be and vice versa.
Yes, we will get to that if we have time, because I was talking about your corner kicks, and that's when I got into Bend It Like Beckham. I don't know if you ever seen the
I
movie.
did see the movie actually. I'm not that young.
With her fourth goal of the season, low line drive, and look at Zoe elevate, snap header, and it's a dandy. Check it out.
Oh, nice.
And we loved it. And we were talking about Bend It Like Beckham. And you can literally kick a corner kick so that it bends and nearly, if not, it can go into the goal. That is so impressive.
Thank you.
I'm guessing you don't want to tell anybody about how you're able to do that.
Like it's crazy though because I mean I haven't started taking corners until my junior year, so I don't think I was even aware of it until like Graham like just like brought it out of me. He's the one that I still get taught how to take these like corner kicks. I mean, some of it is dumb luck, but I mean a lot of it's like repetition too. I just get lucky.
Well, to get lucky every single time, you have to be really, really lucky. Because
Right.
I'm a statistician as well, and yeah, it doesn't work usually like that. It's like Babe Ruth and his home runs. That it doesn't normally work that way.
Mm.
So you've got some magic there.
But yeah, but it's also not me. Like there's some things and some roles. When I do take the corner, there's certain things people need to do in order for that ball to like look as good as it does. So I feel like if my teammates aren't doing their roles and responsibilities, then my corner kick wouldn't have gone where it needed to be or looked as good. So I mean, props to them just as much to me.
Oh yes, definitely. And like I said, you were the one that talked to me about teams, and just because I cheer on one player, just everybody always has like a favorite player growing up. Um, and if you go back, I did put certain things on the Instagram,
Mhm.
and we were actually the first team. From my high school that went to state, but
Nice.
and the coach was like, they're asking how did they do it. He goes, it was all the girls. They were
Right.
determined to get there,
Hmm.
and basically that's it does. It takes the
Yeah,
team
for sure.
determined. I'm going to do this, and this is where we're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am so excited for this coming year.
So I'm I'm really excited. Last year.
How do you view your role on the team then? I think you covered it a little bit.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out as myself. Just the one thing that I like about this team is that like there's not no clear hierarchies. Like whoever we're all leaders in some type of way, and that's something like I truly value as a teammate and as a player because it's like I'm not afraid to speak up and other people aren't afraid to speak up to me. And I think having that like environment that like safety to talk and communicates a lot. So I mean for me, I feel like I'm a leader by like action rather than words. Because like I'm dying out on the field, so I personally cannot yell. It's more like what I can do and show like with my teammates. So
Right,
mhm.
right. And I can yell a lot.
Yeah, like when I'm tired, I'm not gonna yell at you. It's more like I'm gonna hustle, and I hope you're hustling behind me.
So when did you start playing soccer?
Um, that's actually a really good question. I mean, my older sister played soccer. So that's kind of how I picked it up from her and everything she did, I wanted to do just like better. So, like so I feel like Ace like ever since I could play soccer, I think that's when I did. It's like around 4, 5, or 6. Um yeah, and then I just started playing with my older sister because I think I just wanted to be with her and be with her friends, and I think that ultimately helped me um like get faster at the speed of play. So props to my older sister, that's for sure.
Yes, I've coached 5-year-olds, and usually they sit on the field and pick daisies. Um, so props to your older sister.
Right.
Um, did you play anything else growing up?
Yeah, so my parents put me in like a lot of different sports. Baseball, softball. I actually did taekwondo too. So
Oh wow!
yeah, I did a lot. That's about it. I mean, I really fell in love with like the baseball and softball part. Like that's where my family's a real baseball and softball family. But then I just ended up finding my love for soccer, finding out that like this could really take me somewhere.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. We're a baseball softball family
Oh,
too.
nice. Yeah.
My grandfather was a professional baseball player.
Oh, nice.
Um, my father built the stadium at our high school. My brother
Dang.
played baseball. I played
Mhm.
softball, and I had to stop because they I literally have too much energy. It's ridiculous. Even now, it's
So that was actually the same thing for me. Like I think I was just so like energized when I was a kid and I couldn't just like sit or like stand there. I personally felt like I was much more of a slow pace than what I would have wanted. So then that's why I steered in the soft direction.
Right,
It's
right.
definitely a lot more running than softball. So I'm gonna have to reconsider it now that I'm older.
Well, yeah, I had
Mhm.
to stop playing softball to run track, and my world ended up revolving around there, unfortunately. But because I loved softball, and now, of course, I'm completely different. But at the time, I wanted to be a catcher, so I'm like in fifth grade, and I'm like 4'8" and weigh about 50 pounds. And I'm like, no, I want to be a catcher like my grandfather. And they're like, looking at me like, you can't even hold the bat.
No, like my eye-hand coordination completely awful. So yeah, I don't think softball or even baseball would do me the justice. I'm scared of those balls. Like if those things were to hit me, it would be game over for sure.
That's where you play catcher. You have all the equipment.
If
And
I see a ball coming to me, I'm ducking out of the way. Still doesn't change how I play now. I still duck out of the way. Yeah.
don't do that on the soccer field. You definitely don't do
Right.
that. Because I've seen you run towards the ball and the headers. I mean, constantly.
Right.
Every time I see you do one, I'm like, ow, no, it's hurting me.
No, it's definitely an owl moment. Don't get me wrong.
But a definite, necessary, I guess, part of the game,
Yeah.
obviously.
Especially as a defender, like I kind of need to do that. So I don't really have a choice there.
Yeah, that's another thing. See, growing up, we didn't do those things,
Mhm.
really. It's a completely different ball game. Okay, so why did you decide to go to the University of Oregon?
Um, it's actually for a lot of reasons, and I get this question like surprisingly a lot. Well, one I just felt like it wasn't really like why, it was more of like a feeling. So like I messed up. That Oregon was my first visit, so it's like they really set the expectation high with like the facilities, with the people, with the coaching staff at the time. So I mean, I just generally felt at home. So like when I did go to other places, it was more like a feeling of like I don't see myself here type of thing. So when I did land in Oregon, there's a huge population of Polynesian people, which was like number one for me.
Right.
And it was special because, being coming from the islands to anywhere else, I just wanted to be safe and be comfortable with my people. And I think that, like, I stepped out of my comfort zone enough, but, like, these other things that, like, I wasn't willing to compromise. And I think Oregon hit it on the spot. And plus, I met Marcus my visit, so it was kind of a no-brainer. I think I think they just sold me on that one, if I'm being completely honest. That was it for me. I was like, that's it. I'm coming here. And it's still changing, like, and I think that's what makes it even better too, because I mean, it's not a huge community, but it is like a small and tight community. So like when sports do happen or they do occur, like we do have a big enough audience to support us, and I think that's really what sold me too, is like how supportive the people are over here, over athletics anyway.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And I actually mentioned something, and that's the topic I had asked you if we could talk about
Yeah. Yeah.
at actually, I guess I don't have much left, except I was going to ask you, like, um, well, what is your training like on your downtime? Do you go back to Hawaii
Mhm.
and just train there?
No,
Okay.
so we're in the spring period right now where it's like, okay, we're preparing for the fall, but not making sure that we're not like overdoing ourselves. So then after this period ends, I usually do go home, but like I really take that time like for myself. Like that's when I don't touch a ball, don't look at a ball, like don't even run. Like I just give back, enjoy it with my family, the beaches, and I usually stay there for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then I come up here and then I just train. I take advantage of the athletic facilities. So that's usually what my summer looks like. I just find it like important to find that time for myself because I'm doing soccer like 12 months, the whole 12 months. So having that little 3 weeks of a grace period really helps me to move forward, like emotionally and physically, of course.
The reason I asked about your downtime was, do you surf?
I used to when I was younger. I don't really have much time now. I'm more of like a suntan on the sand type of girl. I just like chilling in the water, maybe doing swimming a little bit, but yeah, nothing.
One of the questions I wanted to ask you was about Title IX.
Hmm.
When did you find out about Title IX?
Um, Honestly, like I think it wasn't until my sophomore year of college when I really started to understand like what Title IX is and how that plays into a factor with women's athletics. Because
Okay.
yeah, I didn't know much. I would think I was so caught up in the hype of being an athlete, and it wasn't until I was experiencing like things myself that I was like, oh, like what's going on. So I think that's when I started learning about the Title IX within the NCAA too.
Right, right. I know I was pretty young when Title IX came across.
Hmm.
And quite honestly, I probably wouldn't have been able to go to college if it hadn't been for Title IX.
Hmm.
So I was very proactive, and I have been proactive in, you know, furthering that conversation.
Hmm.
And I can't remember, I think it was on Twitter. I probably may have talked to you about this too. Like I said, I'm like recovering from pneumonia here. I don't know who I'm talking to most of the day. Where it seems like, you know, a woman gets her foot in the door, a woman athlete puts, you know, just barely gets her foot in the door, and then there are like, you know, men on the other side that are all pushing and trying to get her foot out the door because they don't want her in. And I'm like, it's been 45 years,
Right.
and you guys do have really great facilities,
Of
and you
course.
have an amazing coach.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I look at it and I'm going, Nike was track. Nike
Hmm.
was that's where Nike came from. It wasn't football. And some
Hmm.
of these young people are like, "Oh no, this is football. Nike's
Hmm.
football." I'm like, "Oh no, it's not." And oh, by the way, you know, it's because of this, and Gore and I talk about this quite frequently. You
Hmm.
know, it only states that you have to have the same number of sports, not the same funding, same scholarship structure. And I can see that being frustrating. It's frustrating for me as a female. I had daughters
Right.
that, you know, doing
Hmm.
their thing, and to see it being still a struggle is
Hmm.
it just really shouldn't be
Right.
anymore. But it's
Yeah.
just, you know, when I'll tell you, when I suggested using the stadium over here for a women's soccer league, I had no idea. I mean, men were just attacking me left and right
Hmm.
and going
Right.
back and forth, and I'm like, oh my god, she's sitting
Right.
over there. There's nothing. They aren't
Hmm.
even using it. It's been empty for 3 years. Why are you guys attacking me? I don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's use it. That's all I'm asking. So this is kind of the whole Title IX thing. Is that then you're trying to build something
Right.
after you go to college because you have Title IX, but there's no protections there to
Hmm.
get you in the door
Yeah.
to play something that you love.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, this is like a subject where, you think that this is something you shouldn't even talk about. Like you should just be like, no, this is equal rights. Like men is the same as women, you know. And like when I'm looking back at it now, like I being a woman athlete is most definitely hard. But then like I look back at like looking at soccer for example, like the monumental changes that has been going on. So I personally think like the people and the players before me, because if they didn't have the voice, they didn't have the power, none of this would happen. So it's also like we need to do that for the generations to come, and hopefully they will keep carrying on that tradition to a point where like we don't need to keep fighting for such rights. And I think that's really important to just like keeping the message forward, especially now like a lot of athletes, like well-known athletes, are speaking up to the matter, whereas like we're not staying quiet. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to making sure like we know what we deserve, we know what we want, which is like equal rights, to say the least. That's something we shouldn't fight for. But then I also think that remaining silent could be the problem, which we haven't been. So it's definitely like inspiring to watch other people do that too.
Yes, it's the that you should be quiet because you're female.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
think as we're getting older, like a lot of like women athletes are speaking up on such causes, and it really only takes one person to speak up on one cause, because we're all feeling the same thing. So having like these like strong, fearless, and like leader women is nice to follow, because you want to be a part of that movement as well. And I think it's that's even more special too now, because as you know, we're in the 21st century, so there's a lot of old traditions, old habits breaking, especially with these younger men. So they know, and having that like ally is very important.
yes, yes. I